We're going to talk a little bit about sharing knowledge today. And one of the things that I think is very appropriate in this time when we think about transparency is we know a lot about what we do and how we do it. And to Mr. Matthews' statement about, just make the invisible visible. I think that's a really, really, really critical point. We've got to look at where people are, both internally within our organization and externally as our customers are out there, and certainly our partners, our distributors, wholesalers, and the manufacturers. We all have to work together in this. And when you have something that you haven't been exposed to before, like a lot of us haven't been exposed to anything. Well, none of us have been exposed to anything exactly like what we're going through right now. But you always start off in fear. I mean, and you have a choice. How are you going to react to that? And usually fear induces reaction, not so much response, more reaction than response. Are you going to be angry? Are you going to hoard toilet paper? Are you going to be a fear monger? Are you going to be a complainer? Are you going to be selfish? Are you going to be, spreading gossip? Are you going to be emotional? Are you going to be scared? I mean, scared is a real thing, right? Scared is a real thing. I get scared for my kid right now in Boston who works in the restaurant business. That scares me a little bit when I think about the fact that she's in a hot spot and, she's up there and we're down here. So it scares me. Even though she's 30 years old, she's still my kid, right? So once we get past fear, we got to move through this fear zone and we got to get into an attitude of learning. How do I learn about what's really going on right now? I mean, am I going to verify information before sharing it? Or am I going to be one of those people that sees this cool looking meme and I send it to the rest of the world? Well, when I talk about Russian trolls, that's exactly what's happening is people are sending false information and passing it out everywhere. Well, that's not what we're looking to do here. What we want to do is people that are learners, people that are thinking about what's going on, we want to verify the information before we share it. We want to let go of things we can't control. I mean, realistically, we're in the indoor weather business and we can't control the outdoor weather at all, right? So why worry about the weather? You can't do anything about it. Right? Why worry about what's going on with this other stuff outside of your control? Worry about things you can control. That's a learning attitude. That's a learning zone type person. You want to stop consuming all the crap that's out there, both in the news and actually from a food standpoint. I know there's probably a lot of people right now because of stress that are overeating, over drinking, over consuming stuff that's just not good for them. I've had to learn to drink more water and less coffee. Right? Because kind of like Matthew Bratt says, I'm not sleeping quite as well as I used to. And I don't know if I'm anxious about things or what, but I mean, it's just reality. I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, holy cow, how'd I get here? And then by about 10 o'clock, I got to have another pot of coffee, right? So, and I also want to be a responsive person. I want to respond, not react. I want to base my response on facts. I want to do the research, figure out what's going on. And that's what the learning zone is all about. But if we're going to grow, we got to go to the grow zone, right? When we go to the grow zone, we got to focus on finding a purpose. How do we do what we do and why do we do it, right? We got to find a purpose in everything that we do. We got to use the skills that we've been gifted with to serve others. I mean, that's what we're called to do on this ball we call Earth, right? We got to look through other people's eyes. We got to have empathy. We got to understand that when your customer is afraid, that's real to them right now. They don't understand that you have a plan to be able to handle the distancing, to handle the cleaning up of the thermostat that you touch so that nothing will be left on there, about handling yourself properly in their environment. They're afraid. So we have to look through their eyes and understand that and appropriately address the issue. We got to respond appropriately. We got to always be grateful. When customers give us the opportunity to serve them right now more than ever, but always important, say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Right? Simple. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Show them that you actually appreciate their business. Tell them regularly. Prove to them that you're thankful by going an extra mile. There's a concept that they talk about down in New Orleans called lagniappe. Right? And lagniappe is the 13th donut, the baker's dozen, right? You promised a little, but you delivered just a little bit more. That's what people look for. And that's how you grow your business. That's actually how you're going to grow yourself as well. And you want to live in the present, not with the future in mind, not just stay here and say, this is it. This is it from now on. This is it. This is my new now. Now, what's it going to be like next week? What's it going to be like next month? Look to the future and start planning ahead. I'm having conversations right now with distributors that are saying, you know what, we're not really sure we're going to ever do live training again. You know what, if that's true, there's a whole lot of people on this call right now on this side of the microphone that are sitting there saying, say what? Because that's what we do. When Tom talked about, man, my life has been living on an airplane. When Brigham talks about he and his team are out there and he's lost a whole bunch of people, lost a whole lot of opportunity to do business because we're a face-to-face kind of business, man, we gotta sit there and say, okay, now what, right? How can we serve you? Because we have some good ideas. How can we serve you and still maintain that distance? That's a good thing. We got to think about the future and we have to adapt to change, man. I mean, this is a changing time for us right now. Everyone in the world right now is looking at things through a completely different prism than what they were looking at it through just a few weeks ago, just a few months ago. And I think, and this is true, at least for me, it's always been this case. It's one of the things I have to brag on my wife. She's very perceptive here. She says, you know the thing I love about you most? I said, what's that? She said, you're calm and you're patient. I said, well, that's kind of important. That's how growth's all about, right? So in the idea of growth, we got a little something for you here. We got a magazine that we produce. It's called High Performance HVAC Today. And it's kind of interesting. This month's issue is talking about a new age approach to maintenance. And actually, the article highlights a contractor who's been using technology to do virtual maintenance visits. This guy does 11 virtual maintenance visits a week. I'm sorry, I'll get it right in a minute. 11 virtual maintenance visits a year and 1 physical maintenance visit a year as a part of his maintenance program. So you should read it. Also, there's a little article in there talks a little bit about what Ben Middleton's put together with the Goodman Business Toolbox, talking about how this whole thing has blown up to what it is today. So free subscription, hvactoday.com.